week, my guest on Poetry from Daily Life is Eric Odie, who lives with his lovely wife and his lazy cat in the little maritime community of Port Townsend, Washington. Eric says he enjoys a life full of commas: author, comma, poet, comma, songwriter, comma, educator, comma, jazz piano player. His poems have appeared in dozens of anthologies and on a Grammy-nominated and a Grammy Award-winning album. Eric's latest children's books include Stop That Poem and Otters, Snails, and Tadpole Tales, Poems from the Wetlands, Kate Miller Books. When asked for a unique fact about himself, Eric confided that he was once a street busker performer in Belfast for about 7 minutes.
Destination unknown. I'm not lost. I'm exploring. Maybe the entire creating process is right there in that clever bumper sticker. 5 words and the truth. You could sandwich them between 2 book covers and set them on the shelf labeled The Craft of Creating. Creating begins with a hunger for exploration. And no creation can happen unless we are brave enough to set out while not fully knowing our destination. I am constantly having to remind myself that this is true. I have a stubbornness or an insecurity that wants everything laid out on the table, a map with point A labeled in bright red marker, roads clearly highlighted, leading directly to point B. Okay, now I'm ready to begin. But the muse, or at least my muse, rarely lays things out so completely. So I often avoid creating because I'm not entirely sure where the poem or story or song is going. Reminds me of my teaching years. While I was still an elementary classroom teacher, I became comfortable, maybe too comfortable, with the idea that every lesson should have a clear learning objective, a SWABAT. Students will be able to SWABAT label the water cycle, SWABAT identify key words in a math story problem, SWABAT identify a story setting. And now when I'm in the classroom, it's as a visiting author and poet. And thankfully, it has become much easier for me to accept the truth. The journey will reveal the destination. I enter believing that the best learning and the best, most unexpected results happen when the target is a little fuzzy. No, I don't go into a classroom with 0 ideas of what we're going to accomplish. That's a recipe for disaster. Clear expectations are still hugely important, but it's the path and even in many ways the destination that I've learned to release. I've learned to keep my eyes and ears open for where a session organically takes us. Many of the best ideas only reveal themselves when they see we put faith in the process. One image will build upon another. One word will spark a brilliant theme. And that's where we return to our own writing and creating. How do we begin? By beginning, by exploring. Where will we end up? Somewhere we could never have expected. This poem begins. This poem begins in the usual way, with paper and pen and with little to say. Just paper and pen and some stammering thoughts, my head in a muddle, my courage in knots. But this is the part where an image drifts by. I hold it, consider it, give it a try. Not bad, I decide, but it's only a start. I search for the music, the meaning, the heart. Now here's where I struggle and worry and fight and work with a faith that will all turn out right. And here's where it ends, as it so often does. A poem, a something where nothing once was.